your time this afternoon. Week number 8, game number 7, Towson at home, Saturday, 3:30 kickoff. If you would, talk about the Tigers, and we'll take some questions.
Well, it's the CAA, so it's another good team coming in. We talked to the team yesterday about not being fooled by the fact that these guys have a 1-5 record. Rob Ambrose has put together a program, and these guys are better. And for the better part of the last few years, they've been a nemesis for us. I've played Towson 3 times as a coach here at Richmond, and only won one time. I think we beat them up there in 05, and we lost to them in 06 and 07. So I'm very aware of this program and what they're able and capable of doing. We talked to the guys about coming out and having a better effort than we did last week. So we've been game planning all week on offense and defense, and just trying to put together the best plan we can.
All right, thank you. Questions for Coach?
How important is it for a team to know that they can do what you guys did at UMass last week, especially a young team with a true freshman quarterback? And secondly, how important is it for you to know that you can comprise a staff and you can make all the right calls to be able to pull something out like that last week?
I'll start with the staff first. When we put these guys together back in December, it was a plan. We put guys in certain positions because they were guys that we trusted, and they were guys that we felt like could get us through situations like this. There were guys that could come up with great game plans, and guys that can mold the team, and guys that could, ask this team to believe in us. So, I'm very appreciative of the things that the staff were able to do last week. And as far as the team, we talked to those guys all week just about believing in each other. And it's a hard-headed team, hard-headed in a good way, because they refused to believe that they couldn't get it done. There was at no point in time did they think that we'd go to UMass and lose. Even at halftime, these guys basically said we're going to find a way to win this game, and they came out and did it. I think the thing that we have to guard against now is just making sure that with the success that we had last week, we're trying to teach this team now to make sure that we come back and we're able to do the same thing in consecutive weeks. The way the season's gone, we played well for a week and then not played so well the following week. So I think, our biggest task this week is to make sure that we can put together another good game.
Does last week settle anything for you offensively, or are you still in the same boat that you were in last week?
We're still a work in progress, and we're going to do a lot of the same things we did last week with a few more wrinkles offensively. By no means we're going to come out and throw the ball 75 times this week. It's just going to be whatever it takes to win this football game, and defensively, we're going to ask those guys for the 3rd week in a row, to play better than they did the week before.
Do you know if you'll have John this week, or do you know if it'll be Montel, or who will it be?
We won't have John, unless some type of miracle happens between now and Saturday. But there'll be a host of guys, that'll be able to help us at quarterback again this week.
You had mentioned Towson is a developing program. How often and how many times will you show the last-second touchdown they scored up there a couple years ago to prove exactly what can happen on any given Saturday, especially with this program?
Well, we haven't shown it yet, but I think, I talked to the team in the meeting yesterday. Eric McBride was there. A lot of these guys, Martin Parker, those guys were there. And that was a game that we thought we had won, and those guys drove the field, very similar, in the way that we did last week. So these guys know who they're playing. And then, they came in, I think, a year later and beat us pretty good here in Richmond. So, some of the seniors on this team that have had so much success have lost to Towson twice, so they know what this team's all about.
When you have a true freshman back there at quarterback, do you have to temper your expectations? Do you have to dial things down on offense, or do you just kind of send the same playbook out there?
I wish I could tell you that we just kept everything normal, but I think in order to make Montel successful, we cut our game plan a little bit, and we found out what he was good at. A lot of that was just him telling us what he felt comfortable with. And, we wanted to put him in a situation where he was comfortable the whole game. And we didn't go into the game saying we're going to throw it 6 times. We went in saying that we're going to throw it as much as we need to be successful. And it just so happened that the last 6 plays of the game, he made those plays. But he's a mature kid. He's a poised kid. And obviously, based on the way he played last week, we hope to be able to add a little bit more to his plate this week.
Do you feel like the team has a bit – do you think it needed this sort of jolt, come from behind, win like that after some tough losses?
I think the team needed a win, period. Whether it was out in front or from behind, wherever. This team needed to do something to give itself some confidence. And, I think we've been playing fairly confident on defense for the past 2 weeks, but, just for their offense to be able to make a play like that, have a drive like that down the stretch is big for the offense's confidence as well.
And just how much as a team are you guys paying attention to what the NFL is doing with the helmet-to-helmet hits? And I mean, what do you guys do to make sure that your defenders are tackling well and not hitting so it's dangerous for them?
Well, we practice tackling drills on a daily basis, and I think whether it's college, whether it's high school, whether it's NFL, I think a lot of the helmet-to-helmet collisions are accidental. I mean, there's no one that you could tell me that is actually going to throw their head in there and hit somebody. And I think the thing for our kids is we just try to educate them as much as possible and just try to keep them out of those predicaments.
You talked about Montel's maturity and poise. I mean, after that game-winning touchdown, he didn't really act like a true freshman. I mean, he was very calm, cool, and collected, and afterwards in the interview room. I mean, can you just talk about maybe his week of practice so far, and did you expect this sort of maturity from him?
Well, Montel's faced a lot of adversity at a young age. I mean, you look at a guy who's had, two knee surgeries, prior to coming to college. He missed, 80% of his senior season. He's gone through a lot of things in that regard. So it didn't shock me that he was as poised as he was. And, he's almost a little bit too poised at times for us, because he makes a mistake and he's like, hey, I got it. And, you wonder if his sense of urgency is there or not. But that's just who he is. I mean, he's a cool kid. He doesn't say a whole lot. He's a yes sir, no sir kid, and he's just a product of the way he was raised.
You talk about your defense needing to play better than they did last week. I mean, that's going to be tough. Can they just play as good as they played last week? I mean,
well, no. I mean, we've given up 10 points the last 2 weeks in a row, so we're trying to find out if they can shut somebody out. But I mean, Bob tried, and Chad Wilden, Byron Thweet, and David Legg and those guys playing great. Every time you turn around, Martin Parker's making a play, Eric McBride's making a play, or Justin Rogers is making a play. And even last week, you had other guys that aren't as recognized. And Darius McMillan probably had the game of his life. And B.J. Scott's making some plays. Tremaine Graham, our other corner, had a big interception. So it's just good to see all 11 of those guys, and really, 15 of those guys that are playing snaps on defense just contributing and making plays. So, we hold those guys in high regard, so their expectations are high.
a couple years ago, this was a team that any time, no matter what it was, if it was blocking an extra point or blocking a field goal to win, they would do it. And it seemed like at UMass, there was that same sort of effort. I mean, the fourth down stop at the goal line, 4 downs on 1st and goal at the 1. I mean, the sort of everybody has to step up and sort of knowing that somebody's going to make a play at some point. Is that what you're getting from this team?
I think that's just who these guys are. It's something that we try to teach, but, they're guys, from our program from years back, guys like, Stacey Tutt and Johnny Campbell and, all those guys that made big plays for us throughout the years. They've passed these things on, to McBride and, to Patrick Weldon and, to all the guys that are here now. So, when you build a program and you have tradition, things are able to be passed down. And I think just a don't quit mentality is something that you have when you have a program.